Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a special Phil Johns VIP. Tonight is very special to me because it's the first time that I'm not doing anything industry related. As you can see, I'm wearing my shirt, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity. Today is our Founders Day. And just to let you all in on a little bit of information about this organization, it is the first organization designed for men of color, founded back in 1906, December 4th, on the campus of Cornell University in Ithaca, New York. Our beloved founders, Henry Arthur Callis, Charles Henry Chapman, Eugene Kinkle Jones, George Biddle Kelly, Nathaniel Allison Murray, Robert Harold Ogle, and Vernon Woodson Tandy are known as our beloved jewels and our founders. Alpha Phi Alpha was founded on an all-white campus, Ivy League school, because people who look like me could not gather and exchange ideas and even notes. So this opportunity for the brothers to get together and form a social club that eventually developed into a fraternity has expanded now 115 years. And from this organization have come some of great people who you all may know in American history. People like Martin Luther King, Thurgood Marshall, Maynard Jackson, Ambassador Andrew Young. It has produced entrepreneurs, educators, scientists, politicians, dignitaries, doctors, lawyers, many people who you see on the front lines fighting for justice today. I am a proud member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity because it's given me an opportunity to grow. It made me who I am as a man. It gave me direction. It gave me purpose. I even remember the first time I went to one of the older brothers of the organization who was one of my counselors in college. And I was interested in learning things about Greek life, because for us, Greek life was very specific and it went beyond college years. First thing that he asked me was, "Are you registered to vote?" And at that time I wasn't. And he said to me, "Get out of my office and come back when you're a registered voter." At that point, I knew that there was a mandate for me to understand what my civic duty was, because there had been a long line of people who have come before me who paved the way for me to have the opportunity to exercise that right. And tonight I am so excited because the one thing that I love to talk about is this organization, so that people can fully understand exactly who I am, how I'm wired, how I'm built. The brothers that are aligned with me, who at times when I feel like I don't want to go on, when times when I feel like I'm defeated, that I'm able to look at them and they fuel me with strength and determination and encouragement to understand who I am and what my place is in this world, what my place is in society, what my place is in the community. And I want to introduce you to some of those brothers tonight. One brother by the name of Darius Jerome Gordine is the author of Jewels. I'm hoping that when you watch this on the playback that you continue to do your research, Google the organization, find out what our contributions are. Darius is like the historian. Well, I'll call him more of a documentary author who continues to document members of the organization and the organization as it continues to evolve. The next brother is coming on is my brother Ramon Peralta. He is the chief creative director for the organization. He has his own company, Peralta Designs, out of Connecticut. And you can look him up here on IG. And he's going to be joining me. And then I got my brother Christian Adair, who is doing his thing. He is the King Mentor. This is what we do. We get to a level in our careers where we're successful but we are our brother's keeper, and it's important for us to give back. So all of these brothers are going to come on and going to share, and we're going to talk about our beloved jewels, Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, all the people who have inspired us and the organization. And I know they're getting tired of me talking right now, so I'm just going to go ahead and try to bring them on board. Here we go. Let's just go. Okay, let me get Darius. All right. Oh, my brothers are here on time. That's what I'm talking about. Who else is coming in? Do I got everybody? Brother Darius.
What's up, man?
What's going on, brother? I'm trying to make sure I got everybody in, man. You know, this group, sometimes the group thing is a little difficult.
Yeah. Well, you got the important guy first.
I got the man of the hour. Let me see, accept. And let me see. I know Christian said that he's accepting an award tonight.
There's Ramon.
Christian, if you're there, are you there? Let me see. Nah, he probably had to bounce for a minute. The other brothers actually had a Brotherhood Smoke, and he's accepting an award tonight. Hey, brothers, how you doing?
Good, man.
Happy Founders Day.
Happy Founders Day.
I didn't mean to be long-winded, but I just wanted to kind of give everybody everybody an opportunity to kind of catch up before we start talking. So, Founders Day for you means what?
Well, for me, I look back on why I did this in the first place. You know, and I had a very good friend of mine ask me yesterday, why did you become an Alpha? Because, was your father an Alpha? Was your uncle an Alpha? Because you're so passionate about Alpha, and you've been in for 30-something years. So what makes you still kind of seem like a neophyte in this thing? And I told her the story. I'm going to make it quick. I know we all want to talk. You know, I knew nothing about fraternities and sororities when I got to college. I didn't know anything about it. And it was a guy who was a speaker at a luncheon that I was at in high school.
Christian, 1 second. It's overpowering. You want to jump back on?
Mute.
Yeah, go on mute.
I'm muted?
Yeah.
I'm muted.
No?
My first time getting on this like this, bros.
All good.
Can you mute the phone?
I'll try to. How about that?
All right, he'll jump back on.
Okay, so I'll make it quick. So this guy was this keynote speaker at a luncheon, and I was a senior in high school. My church put this luncheon on, and this guy spoke. He was very boring, very long-winded. I was like sitting there like, I'm gonna leave. But when he was finished, my father was extremely excited to meet this guy. And the guy asked me where I was going to college. I said, Howard University. He said, oh, my grandson's going to Howard. You should come to my house and meet my grandson. I don't want to meet his grandson. I don't. But he lived in Teaneck. I'm from East Orange. It's 20 minutes away. So we go to his house. We get to his house, walk in the door. I don't know who this guy is. I walk in his house. He's got a picture on his wall of him and Martin Luther King, him and Malcolm X, him and Ronald Reagan, him and Jackie Robinson, him and Berry Gordy, him and the Jackson 5. So now I'm like, who is this guy? So he begins to tell us stories about all the places he's traveled and the people he's met and whatever. And so fast forward, I go to Howard University. I see a line for the first time, never saw before in my life. Ask my roommate, what is that? That's Alpha Phi Alpha. Those are the Sphinx men. I said, well, where can I find out some information about this organization? He said, I guess the library. Now, I didn't know that Howard University's library is an archive. They got everything in there. I go to the library. They got every single Sphinx magazine from the very beginning up until now. So every day after class, I was reading magazines from the first one all the way up. I get to 1921, and the guy on the cover is the guy from my high school's annual luncheon, who had given me his phone number and said, if you ever need anything, call me. Now, back then we didn't have cell phones, so I had his home number. So I call his home number. He answers the phone. And I said, sir, I just saw your picture on the front of this Alpha magazine. Are you an Alpha? He said, am I an Alpha? He told me he sang the hymn with all 7 jewels. He began to pour into me about Dr. King and what Thurgood was like, and he just poured so much into me. He told me that when Dr. King gave the "I Have a Dream" speech, when he walked up to the platform, almost every person's hand he shook was an alpha. And one of the brothers whispered in his ear and said, "Brother Du Bois just passed away in Nigeria, in Ghana," and he still gave that speech. So that man was Mal Good. Mal Good broke open journalism for black people. He was the first national journalist. He came on because Jackie Robinson said, "I refuse to get interviewed unless an African-American journalist is in the room." So CBS was forced to hire Mal Good. And I'll end with this. In the Malcolm X movie that Spike Lee did, at the very end, you see images of Malcolm and Ossie Davis's voice doing the eulogy. And Ossie says, "Have you ever had Malcolm smile at you?" When he says that, it's Malcolm and a man on the couch laughing. That's Mal Good. And so Mal poured into me. I became an alpha, and my job is to now pour into somebody else. So now that Mal Good is gone, I'm here. And when I'm gone, some young brother's going to say, "Look, I'm an alpha because Darius Jerome Gordine wrote a book, or Darius came to my school, or Darius poured into me, and now I'm going to pour into the next guy coming up." So that's why I'm always excited on Founders Day, and that's why I'm so passionate 31 years later.
Yeah. Man, I'm gonna try to get through this without getting emotional. I'm tearing. I'm sorry. Brother Ramon.
Yes, hey, brother, thank you for having me here.
No problem.
It's good to see Brother Darius. All I could think about was the moment that I had the opportunity to grip Brother Raymond Cannon, who's the closest to a jewel that I've ever experienced. He was our fraternity's. He's a past general president, but he was also a first editor-in-chief of the Sphinx. And I got to grip him back in, I'm dating myself here, but it was probably 1992. My chapter, Zeta Phi Lambda, shout out to them. I would normally be with them this evening as they're celebrating Founders Day, but I am vacationing. I'm on a golf vacation in Florida, and I'm here with a brother from Delta Pi, from Cheney, in Spring 86. And there's another brother here in Palm Coast where I'm at, Brother Howard Jennings, who's a bit under the weather. He went through some dialysis today, but I check in on him. He's from Delta Pi. And I don't believe there are any coincidences. I'm here with a brother from his same chapter, and who has not met him. And so one of the magical things is we're going to go visit him tomorrow, and he's going to get to meet a chapter brother from Delta Pi. So this whole experience for me with Alpha and with Founders Day, even the beginnings of our fraternity, to me is preordained. It's like divine intervention. Because I am the first in my family to go to college, and also obviously the first in my family to be in a fraternity. And I barely made it into college. I had gotten into some trouble after I graduated high school, and got a second chance, if you will, to attend. And one of the first things I did as a first semester freshman was attend a smoker with some of my friends. We went to go find out what this Phi Alpha was all about. And I remember looking at a long table of brothers, of men, suited up, the diaspora, the black and brown, Ralph Rivera, Puerto Rican, Ben Rosa, Kevin Patrick, African-American. I mean, these brothers were from Pitney Bowes, Xerox, IBM, AOL. These brothers were who I wanted to be like. I saw myself in them in the future, and I wanted to join a club. See, I always felt like a bit of a misfit growing up in the hood because I was always a high achiever. For some reason, I wanted more. I did extra. I was singled out oftentimes for knowing the answers, and here was an organization where it was acceptable and encouraged to achieve and to be the greatest and to be the best. And when they started naming brothers like Thurgood Marshall and Martin Luther King and Jesse Owens and Art Shell and these amazing men who had made an amazing impact in their short time here on this planet, all I could think in my mind was iron sharpens iron. And I need to be in this caliber so that they can push me and I can be motivated. And so for me, Founders Day is the legacy of what the Seven Jewels built and what they must have gone through during that time, and the vision and the fact that I believe is preordained, and that I was, this organization saved my life in many ways because it propelled me. It's afforded me so many opportunities, which is why I'm joining you on this. I would never turn an opportunity down like this. The network that we have, I think Brother Darius mentioned at one point every college president was an alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you look at the leadership, when you meet a brother, they're running something. They're building something. They're running something. We are the alphas, and there's a legacy that we carry, and we're here to the other thing. I remember those brothers on the table. They had a sign that said, "First of all, servants of all, we shall transcend all," and we're called to serve, right? So I'm a big comic book nerd. You guys probably, Phil, you probably are too. With great power comes great responsibility. Or as the other proverb, to whom much is given, much is required, or much is expected. That's all alpha. Like I hear alpha
Right.
in those
Absolutely.
proverbs, right? So it's pushed me, but it's also called me to serve, and it's put me on this mission to fulfill the legacy of the Seven Jewels on this Founders Day.
Absolutely. I want to get. I know he has to run. I want to get a Brother Christian on because he's being winning an award today. So I just want. Okay, Brother Christian. I'm gonna let you come in and you could jump right off. All right. I know you gotta go, bro. So I'm gonna give you a moment to kind of join us and speak.
Brothers, I've been listening, and it's crazy how we all kind of have maybe a similar path at that time frame. I'm been a brother since spring '93. So the conversation you have is what you become, right? And the conversation I was a part of before getting to college was about who's on probation, who Officer McAtee's looking for, who got in trouble, what can we do tonight? What can we sell? And it wasn't. I don't want to down any of my people back home or anything like that where I grew up, but it was a little bit of criminal activity or trying to survive and trying to get by, right? And we weren't taking care of business. And I come to college, and I ran track though, but I came to college and there's some brothers wearing the black and gold, and I knew nothing about Alpha Phi Alpha. And the conversation they were having was like, how can we help people? How can we raise money? How can we give bicycles? How can we have an event to bring people together? And I was listening to the conversation. I'm like, man, that's something I've never heard of. And these were young guys, a few years older than me. And at that time I said, I'd rather be over there talking to them instead of being scared about Officer McAtee looking for me. And why not help somebody when I can instead of trying to take advantage of people? And so this fraternity, we all stand on the shoulders of those before us and went through things to make it happen for us. And I want someone to stand on my shoulders. I'm 49 now, so we all get to the time frame where we're looking to build a legacy, right? Right. And when it's all done, was I a giver or was I a taker in this society? You give a little, you take a little, but I want to give more than what I took from this society. So being a member of Alpha Phi Alpha, doing the work that I do, I feel like I'm a giver because I'm not asking for much, but I always want to pour into others and plant a seed. And I do a lot of mentoring. I don't know if anybody knows my background, but I never tell them to become alphas. I never tell them to go to college. I just tell them, look, these are options. These are opportunities. These are conversations.
Interject really second. He is a founder of an organization called the Alpha League. It's not associated with Alpha Phi Alpha, but it is associated with Alpha because of all of the things that he imparts into the young people that he works with.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great work.
So I'm glad to be on this conversation with you, brothers. This excites me. You know what I'm saying? So.
And congratulations. Can you just tell us a little bit about the award you're going to be receiving tonight?
Well, I ain't 100% sure, So Well, we have a brotherhood smoke. You know, usually across the country, we're all having maybe a black tie affair or dinner or something that we dress nice and we pat each other on the back for the work we've been doing. And because of COVID, we scaled down and we decided to have a brotherhood smoke. We're out at a facility now, black owned, by the way. We spend the money with our own community, and we just want to come out and eat a little, converse with each other, and you know, we'll pat each other on the back tonight and see how it goes. So. But I definitely wanted to be here and wanted to be there, so this is the best I can do right now. I'm outside on the patio. That's but you're right. Important. This is important.
Brother, look, at any point you have to go, just let us know.
Okay, cool.
And you're free to bounce. But congratulations once again.
Thank you.
Question I wanted to impart, and anybody can answer this, but do you think that even now, it is important to continue to give back to the young people? Because I feel like the younger generation are kind of moving a little differently than when we did, you know? So do you ever find that to be a challenge, or, you know, are they getting it from you? Do you see that light bulb go off when you mentor them?
Well, the thing is, we have to be an organization of men who are willing to accept change, because things are different now. You know, like I mentioned earlier, when I came into fraternity, I didn't even have a cell phone. None of us had cell phones back then. Now, maybe it's a virtual world now because of COVID and because of technology. All these kids know is cell phones, you know, and these devices. And so we have to speak to them on their level. We got to, you know, be able to relate to them. But like the brother said, have conversations that they're not having with themselves. So they want to be like us.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to have them, you know, stay where they are. We need to bring them up. So it's all about adapting and adjusting so that we can make the greatest impact. The conversations we're having with them, the examples we're showing them, how are we conducting our business and ourselves so that when they see us, what are they thinking when they see us? You know what I mean? I just did a Zoom about 30 minutes before this one. And one of the questions that was posed to me was, how do we combat the imagery of being a gang versus a fraternity? I said, it's very easy. We have to monitor what we put out, because people's perception becomes their reality. So if they're on the outside looking in at us and all they see is paddles and us getting into fights with other organizations and acting a fool, then their perception is, well, they're a gang. But if they see us at the March of Dimes event, and they see us as a president of the university, and they see us as the CEO of this company, and they see us with the mentorship with the young people, when they see these images, that perception becomes their reality, and they say, okay, these are some good guys here. They're not a gang. They're not about violence. They're about uplifting and service. And so we have to continually be alpha men. You know, I was always told, you can't put these letters on and just go act a fool, because it's bigger than you. Yeah. And now that we know you're an alpha, even when you ain't wearing the letters, if you ain't got the shield or you got the, we know Darius.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if I'm acting a fool, it ain't Darius acting a fool. It's, look at them alphas, they crazy. Like, no. Yeah. If I went out and misrepresented the fraternity, my dean would have pulled me up immediately. You know what I'm saying? So those are the kinds of things that we have to do to make sure we can still relate to these young people.
Brother Ramon.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. I believe firmly that we need to be who we wish was there for us. And what I mean by that is that I did not see positive role models that looked like me until I got to college, and too many of our young people are not going to get that opportunity. I was an outlier, so part of this is we have to just put ourselves out there, probably with a younger demographic than we might be going to see. Maybe we need to start in middle school and not wait till high school until we start mentoring some of these young men. But they need to see us as being successful legally, with legal businesses, with jobs and homes and families and all that. We don't even have to get to the point of them knowing that we're alphas just yet, but if we just conduct ourselves as alpha men and be positive examples for them. I also feel that the fraternity's got to have some conversations around the times that are changing, because our fraternity currently, in order for you to be a member, you have to have graduated from a 4-year accredited institution. There are some conversations that we have to have, because there are hundreds of thousands of jobs that are not being filled, that are like trade related, that a lot of our young people could be tackling. And our college enrollment's going down, but there are some 6-figure jobs out there that a lot of these young people can fill that do not require college degrees. So we have to have some serious conversations about our brand, what we're about, what our mission is. Because if you remember the history book, it's to the youth who march onward and upward toward the light. This has always been a college fraternity for young men. I know we have our alumni brothers, but still the goal is to mentor, to uplift, to guide these young people towards the light, right? So there's some conversations that need to be had. I for a long time chaired Project Alpha for the Eastern region. I was a young dad. I had my daughter at 20. That's a very, very important program, okay, for our young people. So you have mentorship, you have fatherhood, you have healthy relationships, you have all this stuff. We have to focus on. I was just going to ask you to
explain that, because I wanted to do it, but I don't want to talk too much. But Project Alpha is one of our nationally mandated programs where
Absolutely. Project Alpha is super important. It's a partnership with the March of Dimes. We're talking about being outdated. We have a video that's from the 90s. And the kids, you play that video, it still kind of has a good message, but we need to update our materials. We need to have a better presence on social media when it comes to a lot of this. That's where they are. That's where our young people are. And the thing is that our young people, if they don't see, if we can't open their horizons to what's possible, right? They get caught up in what their reality is. So it's very important for us as Alpha Men to continue to reach out, to we can control the narrative, right? So for many, many years, we've felt like, well, TV and movies don't really depict black and brown men in a positive light. Well, we can control the narrative. We're creating content. I own a media company. Darius is authoring books and speaking. Christian has a program, right, that we can control the narrative, let people know what we're doing, on all these different platforms, so that we can impact people and we can show people a better future, especially our young people.
Absolutely. And Brother Christian, you're on the front lines, man.
Hey, so I'll piggyback on both the brothers here. Controlling the narrative, very much important, and I think that we do have an opportunity, and I'm glad we now have a marketing director that's going to do that, help Alpha do that, right? and we're going to, we need to brag a little bit more, exactly. And not necessarily brag, but just share what we're doing, because we're doing good work, right? And if people see the work that we're doing and they understand the work we're doing, then they may either join us or even compete with us, and that's okay too. But they need to know the positive, come back to maybe the gang or whatever they want to call us, but to put out all the positive things we do, look the way we do, walk the way we do, understand that we are a diverse group of people still, but, planting that seed. I always say plant a seed and watch it grow. Then we got to water it. And these young people that we mentor, is about just dropping seeds and letting them know, giving them an opportunity to water it. With brothers like this having this conversation. And it's important that I think the reason why we're Alpha Men is because we want to uplift our community however we can. But in reality, the more young people we uplift, the larger our fraternity grows, the more people we touch, and the more messages it gets out. So I think I'm answering that question right there, but I was all deep into what the brothers were saying right here.
It's all good, man. It's all good, man. Like I really am enjoying the input that you guys are having, and I'm trying to stay on time here. So one of the questions I really wanted to put out to you all is that what is it that you didn't know before you became an Alpha that you discovered about yourself while being an Alpha, while serving? So coming in, you thought one thing, but throughout your entire Alpha experience until now, what are the things that you've discovered about yourself?
I'll go real quick.
Yeah.
They called me Ninin growing up in high school, right? That was a nickname. And that person was, I was just an athlete and just trying to get girls. Well, when I came to Kentucky, joined track, they called me Christian. And then I became and I was held accountable for my actions, just like you guys talking about earlier. So now my name is Christian Adair. They don't know my nickname. They don't know any of the negative stuff that I grew up doing. And now I got to become a man. I got to become a servant leader. I got to become somebody that contributes to society. And before then, I didn't think about that part. So after joining the fraternity and standing next to other brothers that had high ideals, you guys, it let me know that I am worthy and I can be in leadership positions and I can influence others to do better as well. Pass the baton.
I was kind of quiet prior to when I pledged. My whole personality came out. You know, I'm a big personality person. I talk big, I act big, I jump on things big. I'm about it. And so I don't like that opportunity slide by. I'm gonna jump on it. If I fail, I fail. I get back up and go again. A lot of that came from pledging. A lot of it. I mean, getting with the guys that I pledged with, we're like the best of friends. I pledged Spring 90, so it's 31 years for us. When we hit 25, all 16 came back to Howard. All of us. We got dressed up like we were online. I mean, the whole thing. But my personality really came out. And it, you know, I knew that these guys had my back. I knew that if I tried something, I would have a network of brothers that I could bounce it off, you know. And I knew that I could reach more people because of the resources that we had at our fingertips. I was like, this is awesome. I mean, I could really, you know, reach people. And then when social media came out, my God.
All right, bro. Thank you. Brother Chris.
My God, when social media came out, I was really able to increase the platform tenfold. I mean, you and I have been friends for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And when I did the redo of my book, I called you. Yeah. I said, dude, I need you to get me some brothers who can do this photo shoot. And what'd you do? You jumped on it and made it happen, right?
But we got it. We did it.
we made it happen. And for every book that I've done, every graphic designer is an alpha. Every person on the cover is an alpha. Every photographer is an alpha. And I try to use different people. I don't want to keep going to the same photographer when we got so many brothers who do photography. So each of my books is a different photographer, but they're all alphas. Different graphic designers, but they're all alphas. Different models, but they're all brothers. You know what I'm saying? Because we got so much. Why in the world would I go outside of the house when I got everything in the house? You know, Ramon, what he does, there should not be a brother in this fraternity that ever goes for graphic needs and not goes to Peralta Designs. Nobody. I don't care what you need, a logo, you need a website, you need a business card, you need something. You need to go to look at Darren Thomas with the Alpha Box, right? He's doing distribution. He's doing production. He's doing merchandise. There should not be any brother who needs those services that does not go to Darren Thomas. So, I mean, we got everything we need. We got casting directors. We got artists, musicians. We got athletes. We got preachers. We got lawyers. We got mentors. We got high school coaches. We got elementary school teachers. There is not a single area that we have not touched in a positive way. So that, to me, was brought out when I became a brother, and I had no idea that was all in me. Didn't know.
I'm telling you.
Didn't know.
Ramon.
Well, since we're sharing pledging stories, I mean, I would say that what I learned about me was that I'm a high D personality way before I ever got a DISC assessment. For those that know about that personality test, I pledged Spring '89 the first weekend that we went online. My two line brothers both dropped and left me by myself. And my dean asked me, you know, do you really want to continue? Because this is going to be very difficult. You just started. You know, we'll try to find somebody else and you can pick this up next semester, or you can continue. And in my mind, we had just come out to the campus at the University of Bridgeport that Friday. This was a Sunday night. We had just, after being in an interest group for an entire semester, and telling everybody what we were about to do, there was no way that my personality, there was just no way that I was not going to complete the mission. And I learned that, I didn't really, I was 18 when I went online, right? So I didn't know much about myself as a man, as a young man, but it was through Alpha that I was able to learn that there really is nothing I can't do. Right? There really is nothing. If I put my mind to something, there is nothing that I can't do, that I can't finish. You know, so that perseverance, that determination, and the encouragement that I received from brothers during that time really helped shape me into the leader that I am today. At age 30, I was New England district director. Yeah, and I had field staff. I had area directors that reported to me. I had to attend conventions, and I had to get up in the podium and deliver reports. All that was a training ground for me being the CEO of my own company today. So Alpha has brought out the best in me over the years, and I've learned so much more that I can do so much more than I even remotely think I can. Yeah. And it taught me how to tap into my higher power. And tap into myself to accomplish more than I could ever dream of accomplishing. And so Alpha's made me a better man, a better leader, and in doing so, we keep talking about the servant leadership in helping others. Being a servant leader, having empathy, thinking of those less fortunate. Giving back because you've been blessed. All those things align with our mission of Alpha Phi Alpha.
Right. It's true. I mean, listening to you both, I think that when we talk about our process, that the process is made to be almost like a pressure cooker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Launch into you to discover things about yourself during that time that you didn't even know you had. For those who talk about brothers dropping, I mean, my line started out with 5. We ended up with 3, and three brothers who were completely opposite from one another that had to deal with each other in order to make it happen. And I remember my ace, my LB, and the thing that I learned about myself is that I was already naturally headstrong. I was already kind of like a person that kind of just moved kind of solo. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And the hardest part for me was like, I gotta deal with 2 other cats, and I'm like, and we all have to be on the one accord,
Yes.
And you learn how to know when to fall back because you don't have to do it all by yourself,
right?
To allow somebody else to take the lead. I remember times when we had to go before. I think our grad chapter at the time was Kappa Phi Lambda, and Kappa Phi Lambda had nothing but like heavy hitters in that chapter, and to have to go before them and try to get some money that was ours anyway. But you got to they questioning, why do you want $50? And they like, say anything, but don't let it be a party. You can tell that you're doing anything, but do not say you're giving a party. And it just taught me how to like no backward steps. Mm-hmm. I got to keep going forward, And I always tell people, no, don't take backward steps, but it's okay to reposition yourself. You can step aside, you can lean back, don't take back. There's plenty of places you can go. And all of those things, everything that we learned while we were in that pressure cooker is things that we apply to our life today, because you become the only brown face in an all-white place. Everything that you learned while you was crossing the burning sands will come back to you at that moment. And those are the things that will sustain you. Those are the things that will help you push through. Absolutely. And then there are other brothers. There are other brothers like yourselves. I look at like Darius and Ramon and Christian, and even when those times when I feel like I can't move forward, I look at you and I understand that I have no choice but to move forward.
Yeah, no choice.
Absolutely. We continue to, not only are we the light of the world, but we continue to be the light to one another.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
definitely.
That goes back to iron sharpens iron.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let me ask you guys one more question, because I know this has moved so quickly, and I didn't expect it to go so quick. But I want give me one thing that you're grateful for.
Whew. Oh man. One thing?
Well, what are you grateful? What are the things that you are grateful for?
In terms of Alpha, right?
And gratitude in terms of Alpha.
Okay. So this is what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for brotherly accountability. When I came up, you had to maintain your grades. You had to maintain your I mean, you just could not go off and just do you. No, you're a brother. You're beta now. You're an alpha phi alpha brother now. So you're held to a certain standard, and all the brothers will hold you accountable. They would hem you up. If you disrespected a woman, you might get hemmed up.
Yeah.
You might just get hemmed up. It's like, for real. You know what I mean? And so that, I know that when you look back at stuff like that as an adult with a family, with children, with, you know, a wife or whatever, you have to thank those guys that brought you in, because they were molded. They're molding you, and then you got to turn around and mold somebody else, you know? So I'm so grateful. I am so grateful for my big brothers, the guys that pledged in 89, 88, 87, 86, that were there. You know, they said things to me or to us that were lasting, that were impactful, that I could remember now, that I saw happen later on. Like, wow, he said this was going to happen, and here we are. Those are priceless jewels, nuggets that you keep. You know what I'm saying? And to be in the presence of black men who are thinking positive, who are uplifting. And, you know, we had fun. We had parties. We had step shows. We took road trips. We all got in the car and drove down to Bayou Classic or down to, you know, whatever. I mean, we did all that stuff, right? You know, convention. Where's convention? Tampa. We driving. You know, we ain't got no room. We driving. You know, we gonna get a room.
Skipod.com days, brother.
Skipod. Oh my God, Skipod.com, boy. We rolling. So all that was fun, but we were held accountable too. You know, we were held accountable. Let you go to convention and act up. You're gonna hear about when you get back home. Yeah. So I credit that stuff to a lot of who I am today, and a lot of what I do today. You know, I don't just write books, I teach. You know, when I wrote the town hall meeting, I took the 7 jewels and put them in a room with actual brothers. Now, these brothers, these real brothers, are asking the jewels questions. Now, I don't know the jewels to answer these questions. I can't really answer for them, but what I'm doing, one of the questions that they're asked is, who's your favorite alpha? Now, one jewel says Martin Luther King. One jewel says Thurgood Marshall. But the other 5 jewels, when they answer the question, they say alphas that you probably don't know who they are. And they're telling you why. Why County Cullen? Why Whitney Young? Why Paul Robeson? You know, why? So if you're reading the book as a neophyte, you're now learning who County Cullen is.
Right.
So I didn't just write a book. I'm teaching you who County Cullen is, why he's important, and why you should be proud because you're an alpha and he was an alpha. You know what I mean? So that is a responsibility that I take serious. And it's because these guys that brought me in and my line brothers, they put something in me that I can't let go of. I have to give it out, you know, but I kept it, but I kept it to do the same thing, recycle that thing and make sure that we are all still progressing. Even with this new world that we're living in with COVID. I mean, we're on a virtual, I'm in Charleston, Ramon's in Florida. What are you, in New York?
Sure, yeah. New York, New Jersey, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And we're on this thing. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to be able to connect like this on our Founders Day. So that's my answer to the question. I'm very grateful for brotherly accountability.
Brother Ramon.
Brother Phil, you got 2 talkative brothers and you're trying to keep this to an hour.
I know.
Good luck. So I'm grateful for the relationships that I've built over the years with the brothers, for the mentorship that they've provided to me, the older brothers that have come before me, and the many opportunities that the brothers that have afforded me, which is why I speak to a lot of our younger brothers that are looking for mentorship from me, and I look out for opportunities for other brothers. I'm paying it forward, so I'm very grateful for that. I'm just going to share one example, and I'm going to shout him out by name, Brother Charles Robinson. He's also a past editor of the Sphinx, and my role is chief creative advisor with the fraternity, the first of its kind, probably the first Dominican, Latino D9 officer with that regard. But Brother Robinson was introduced to me by another Dominican brother, Tito Vargas, Amato Vargas. He's an attorney. He was a state judge here in Connecticut when I was undergrad. So right away, there were alphas in my life that I was like, wow, all I knew were Dominican drug dealers. This brother's a state judge, for Connecticut. And he looked out for me. He introduced me to Charles Robinson. I told Charles Robinson I wanted to be a designer, that I just graduated from art school. He brought me down to Baltimore from Connecticut on an Amtrak, took me out to lunch, interviewed me, talked to me at headquarters, and commissioned. I was commissioned to do a cover of the Sphinx, where this is dating myself again. I had to hand draw a montage of Raymond Cannon on the cover of the Sphinx. I got paid $1,000. I was probably 20 years old. That was a life-changing moment for me. I felt like a big shot. Okay, I was so happy and so proud, and Alpha gave me that opportunity. It's a piece of history, and it just set me off like, wow, I can actually do what I love and make a living. And the impression, I mean, now that I look back, it's like, okay, it's no big deal. I took the train and I got taken out to dinner. But when you're a young, aspiring professional that comes from the hood, and you're in a fraternity like Alpha, and you get that kind of, that is a life change. I want to create those kind of life-changing moments for the next generation. So I'm grateful for that networking, that mentorship, that looking out for one another that we do as Alpha men. I'll share one more story. Brother Warren Scott, a past regional vice president. I had just become an Alpha, and I think this applies to everybody, not just Alphas, but I had just become an Alpha, and they were changing the intake process a little bit. And I know this is a live, but they were changing it from a 6-week to a 2-week process. And I stood up on the convention floor. I was 19, and I was adamant about why this should not be. I was against it because I tried to explain to Warren Scott, we weed out the brothers that aren't worthy, and it was 12 of us, and only I made it, and all this other stuff. And he looked at me and he said, "Well, we got you, didn't we?" And the whole place went into an uproar, and my ego went through the floor. Okay, my ego went to the floor, and I walked out of that convention floor humiliated because I didn't understand. Okay, and Brother Warren Scott came seeking me out, and he wanted to give me the grip, and I refused to give him the grip. I was verklempt. I was mad. And my dean came over and grabbed me, and he says, "Brother Peralta, when we're behind those closed doors, brothers are going to go at it. They're going to disagree. They're going to have differences of opinions. But when we come outside, we're brothers." Okay, and I was 19 when I learned that lesson.
True.
And Alpha's bigger than any one of us. Okay, I gripped him, hugged him. We worked it out, but it was a very valuable lesson I learned at a very young age, and kept me active, for 32 years in this fraternity, and I'll continue to be. So that's well more than half my life. I've lived as an Alpha man and served as an Alpha man, and I'm grateful for Alpha making me the man that I am today.
Wow. That's awesome. Great, wonderful story, man. I'm telling you, I'm getting choked up. I'm trying my best to hold it back. But for me, I was working. I was interning down at in Baltimore at WJZ 13, and I was one of the first brothers who actually saw the unveiling of the MLK Memorial design.
Wow.
Anybody else saw it? So I worked with Brother Vic Carter at the time. He was one of the
great brother
anchors for the
yes.
And in that moment, I was in the same room with Coretta Scott King.
Wow.
I was in the same room with Ambassador Andrew Young. I think Tommy Hilfiger was also a contributor to that. And I felt like it kind of validated who I was in that moment because I was in that space. You understand? And I knew that I had a responsibility. And for me, it is a great burden that I carry because as Darius said, no matter where I go or what I'm working on, I have to always understand that I represent not only myself, but I'm representing a group of men who have gone before me.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of time, and there are plenty of brothers who will, you know, like I told the story before you guys came on about Brother James Day, who I remember being interested in wanting to be an alpha, and I came in at 19 years old, and he's like, "Are you registered to vote?"
Yes.
I was like, "No, sir. You got to get the hell out of my office and come back." There's nothing else I need to talk to you about. I don't know alpha, no nothing. You know, and to this day, I'm going to stop because I'm feeling it coming up. I'm feeling it coming up. To this day, it is something that I take very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentored kids who come out of Marcy projects that have had films premiere at Sundance University, Sundance Film Festival. I'm sorry, Sundance University, Sundance Film Festival. I've had young people out of high school now who are producers for the Food Network and are working at the King's Theater in Brooklyn as producers. And everything that was taught to me through Alpha is something that I give back to people.
Mm-hmm. Right.
See them flourish and grow. Because here I am. I'm a fatherless kid. I'm just trying to figure it out. Alpha was a light for me. It was a guidepost that I needed to have in my life to figure out who I wanted to be and how I wanted to show up in the world. And when I look at both of you, Brother Christian, who's no longer here, and other brothers, my Ski Fi brothers and my chapter brothers and my LBs, and even though sometimes me and my LBs, our relationship can be a little dysfunctional at times, but it's always a reminder to aim higher, do better, take no backward steps, but it's okay to pause, it's okay to reposition, but never stop going. Onward and upward toward the light. That's what we move.
Rest if you must, but don't you quit.
Don't you quit.
Absolutely.
Thank you, brothers, for joining me tonight.
Thank you, man.
I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. Thank you. Hopefully in 2022, we can sit down and break bread, have coffee. You in Connecticut, so I can get to you. But
I got flights.
You be flying.
I got points. I'll fly. I got points.
So I'll be seeing you guys. Enjoy the rest of your Founders Day. Thank you for joining me. And as far as Phil John's VIP, I will be back next Wednesday with a new guest. Thank you for joining me. Take care. God bless everybody.
06.
06.